Is it permissible for an imam of a mosque to collect the Zakat-ul-Fitr and distribute it to those who are entitled to it, even if that is a while later? Does it increase if there is inflation? It's a very interesting question.
As far as an imam collecting Zakat-ul-Fitr, as I mentioned earlier, there are various hadiths mentioning that someone can collect Zakat-ul-Fitr. It's mentioned in Sahih Bukhari, volume number 3, in the book of representations, hadith number 2311, that Abu Hurairah, may Allah be pleased with him, he says that the Messenger of Allah, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he had appointed him to keep the Zakat-ul-Fitr. He was appointed as one of the collectors. And there are other hadith in Sahih Hadith of Ibn Khuzaymah, which says that when a person asks that when did Ibn Umar, may Allah be pleased with him, when did he used to give his Zakat-ul-Fitr? So the person replies that after the collectors had finished. That means they were collected at the time of the Prophet. So someone collecting on behalf of anyone else, it's permitted. But you should see to it that the person collecting is honest, like Imam of a mosque, alhamdulillah, no problem. Or an organization, it can be given. Regarding the question that, can it be given later? That means the person who collects it, can he give it later? No. The right ruling is the person who collects, he can collect a few days earlier. That's no problem. But it should reach the recipient before the Eid Salah of Eid al-Fitr is over. That's very important. And it should reach in the form of food. You can give money to the collector if you don't have food, or you can give food directly. But the person collecting should see to it that if you give money, it should buy the amount of food required for the stipulated share of Zakat-ul-Fitr. And he should see to it, it reaches the recipient before the recipient goes for Eid Salah is the best. That's the best, or on the eve, one day earlier. As far as inflation is concerned, should the Zakat-ul-Fitr increase? See, since Zakat-ul-Fitr is not in currency note, it's in form of food. So if inflation is there, the cost for you to buy the food will increase. But 1 sa will remain 1 sa. So what 1 sa could purchase maybe 20 or 100 years back, if it may be costing maybe a couple of pounds or a few rupees, today it may have increased, but 1 sa of rice remains 1 sa of rice. 1 sa of barley, 1 sa of date. So that's the reason it is the hikmah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His Messenger. They gave it in kind, not in cash. If Zakat-ul-Fitr was in cash, then the problem inflation would have come. Same thing with Zakat. It's in the form of gold. If you have surplus more than 85 grams of gold, it doesn't say surplus more than 100 pounds or 1,000 pounds or $100 or $1,000 or 100 rupees or 1,000 rupees. It's in form of kind. So if inflation is there, the cost for buying that kind increases, but the amount remains the same. So inflation also it will be 1 sa of date or raisin or rice, etc.
Okay, Jazakallah khair for the answer.